How's it going, everyone? You're very welcome back. This is Guitar Experience Part 2, and it's part of the series of 20 years of experience. And I'm back again with the electric guitar. So in this part, instead of going through a lot of the basic stuff that I went through in Part 1, like going through the tuning and things like capos and going into detail with that, in this particular episode, we're going to be taking a look at some songs and stuff that I learnt. And we're also going to be taking a look at some guitar solos maybe, and some riffs, and just a few different bits and pieces. And try and do a little bit of a deeper dive into things, and maybe go through some of the effects on the Zoom G1X effects pedal, which I'll show you later on in the video. I'll show you what it looks like, the pedal that I'm using with this electric guitar. But yeah, this is part 2, and we're going to go through as much as possible here. And I also want to go through pentatonic scales as well, and you know, just how I kind of developed kind of a jazzy sound with the way I learned the way that I learned my playing skills, you know, when it comes to the guitar. Okay, so I suppose at first of all, I'll probably just break into some jamming, and I'll go through some of the songs. So a couple of string bends there. Okay, so what I was doing there was a couple of string bends. So the string bending is quite common in, you know, rock, but it's also quite common in blues and stuff. But there's so many different types of you know, techniques when it comes to particularly the electric guitar. Like a lot of the things, you know, you have string bends, which is like this. And you can kind of shake the strings as well while you're bending them. Another technique as well, or another little thing that I learned anyway, and I'm sure a lot of other guitar players know of it as well, is when you know, stuff like tapping and all that. So there's like, and then you'll get your other finger and you'll go like this, and it takes a lot of practice and stuff to get good at it. And you know, sometimes in some parts of the fretboard it can be easier, like particularly down here if you're doing them like this. So it all depends on your skill levels and stuff. And then there's like sliding as well with the strings. And you know, the two scales, the two pentatonic scales that I have mainly, I suppose that you would kind of use the most, well, I've used them the most anyway, are the fifth fret scale, which is like here, and then there's also the 12th as well. They're used quite a lot. Also, you know, when you get, you know, pretty skilled after a while, you'll be playing all over the fretboard, and it takes time to figure out the notes. But from the fifth pentatonic scale, it'd be like, so if I play something here, that's your fifth scale, your fifth pentatonic scale, and then you have your 12th. Our little switcher, change the tone. So the next thing that I want to talk about is, so those are scales. Just a little short breakdown on the scales using the 5th pentatonic scale and the 12th, and how you can do solos. But then you have, like, as I was saying, tapping, and then there's also hammer-ons, which are like this. Hammer-ons and pull-offs. So a pull-off would be like if I did it. And then there's, pinch harmonics as well, which are another common, more tricky. Well, they're kind of more tricky to do, but take a little bit of skill to develop as well, which would be when you get the pick under the string and you get a kind of a pinchy sound. And then there's like regular harmonics and stuff as well. But that's pretty much how all of that unfolds. So without further ado, I suppose I'm just going to play some stuff, as this is not really, these are not guitar lessons, and they're not really training either. Even if you do learn something from what I'm showing, that's fantastic. If you are, you can follow along. But I'm going to just show you some stuff that I learned, I suppose way back in the early days, 20 years ago when I started. So what we're going to do now is we are going to just going to go through a couple of tunes, I suppose, and one in particular is Snow Hey-O by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Okay, so the way that I learned this, and I know it can be done on, I was playing it like here, so try and play it right now, just so that's generally the way I learned how to play that. I know it's played a lot faster, but I think in the original key it's something like, something like that. Anyway, that's the general gist of it. And I also learned stuff like a couple of tunes by AC/DC, your Back in Black, which was kind of like, these I'm just doing them with like a clean channel. I'm not using any distortion and stuff like that. But when they are, a lot of these songs, they're used with various different guitar effects and stuff. But just for demonstration purposes, we're just kind of I'm just going through some of the stuff that I learned. And another one would be, like, a popular one would be Sweet Child of Mine. So that was kind of like, a bit slower than that, but yeah, that's kind of how it's done. And then there's chords and stuff in there too, and guitar solos, and not to go into all of the detail on the songs, but these were songs that a lot of people wanted to learn, especially the time that I was starting to learn as well, in those days, in the 2000s and after that as well. But so there's just a couple of tunes, and one of my favorite tunes as well, which I learned I think much later, and I mentioned this in I've covered their songs. I've covered one or two of their songs anyway. Dire Straits, and the song is Sultans of Swing. And that's kind of done like this, so we can kind of get it. The chords are, let's see how we can do this now. So it'll be like, that's kind of the main riff, and then there's also like solos and stuff in there too. Like one of my favorite parts of that, you know, solo of the lead parts in the song is when he goes up here, and you know, Mark Knopfler, a brilliant guitarist. If I can do that right, my apologies. And then I also learned, like, you know, blues and stuff, bluesy riffs, how to play kind of bluesy stuff, so kind of palm muted, so the way I'm playing it, I'm kind of hitting the strings and I'm blocking as well while I'm doing it. So excuse me. That's pretty much all the time I have for today with this. So I want to thank you for joining me on part 2 of the 20 years experience 20 years guitar experience part 2. I don't know if there will be a part 3. I haven't figured that out yet, if I'm going to cover more on this topic with electric guitars or on this series. But if there is a series 3, I will be updating that on my social media. But other than that, I would like to thank you for joining me in this, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in. And I just want to say a big thanks, and I want to say rock on, keep playing. And before I go, I'm just going to show you the effects pedal that I'm using here, as I was saying at the start of the video. So the effects pedal is a Zoom G1X, and I will show you that here. I'll bring it up to the camera and show you. So this is the effects pedal that we're using for the video. So we have it right here. Just got my wires are connected to it there. My apologies for that. So we have this one right here is the pedal, the effects changers. We can switch these to change our effects. This is our volume control, okay. And obviously we have our pedal here, and we can change a few other functions here as well. Not to go into all of the detail right now, but I will probably do another video and do a full breakdown of the Zoom G1X effects pedal and show you like stuff like the wah and stuff, and you know, all of the other stuff like flangers and, you know, delays and stuff like that, and whatever else is in there, and the distortion sounds and stuff. We went through a little bit of the distortion in part 1 of this series, but I will show more in another video at some other point. I don't know if it will be part of this series, but we will see. So that's pretty much it, the Zoom G1X effects pedal, and that's pretty much all the time I have. I would like to once again thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for joining me in this video, and I hope you learned something and picked up a new skill, or maybe just enjoyed watching me share with you some of my skills over the years. And other than that, you can drop a comment down below. You can follow my website, find my website, and you can follow me on all social media through Stuart Doherty Music. And other than that, drop a comment, drop a like, rate the video, and my name is Stuart, and I will see you guys again. Thank you so much.